We're going to discuss everybody's favorite future star at linebacker.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Luke Robinson. That's Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. This is Locked On Bama. Thanks so much for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network there is. You guys are the best. Jimmy, we're going to talk a lot today. We're going to talk some Big 12 media days. And you're like, well, what did that have to do with Alabama? Well, because it is
college football season.
It's college football season, man. And this is the first one. I mean, there may have been another one, but this is the first Power Four. I don't think there has been. But
there has been another one.
It is kind of interesting. And it's like their stuff's going to affect our stuff because right now everybody's stuff affects everybody's stuff.
It's true.
We're also going to talk about CBS tabbed 2 Alabama freshmen to make an impact this year of all the SEC freshmen. And I don't think you'll be surprised at who they are, but that's okay.
They must listen to our roster ranking.
I think they do. Have you seen it?
I know who it is. I haven't seen it, but I know who it is, and I just think they must listen to our roster ranking for the 2 that they should. Well,
but we'll start off with your roster ranking, and today is Luke Metz, best first name ever. He's
tied with Luke Cody for that.
He is tied with Luke Cody for that. What's funny, I never thought of this because he's from Mill Creek High School, right? Isn't that right?
I believe that is correct.
But his birthplace is in Georgia. Hoschton.
Is that how you say that? Do you know how to say that? Wouldn't it be something? It's pronounced just Houston? I don't.
It could be. I didn't think about that.
Houston, Houston.
It should be Houston, and I just like doing that.
Yeah, well, Gesundheit. Luke Metz. First thing I think of, patting myself on the back because I enjoy doing that. Somebody has to. No one else does, so I have to. I remember, when he committed to Alabama, he wasn't a big name just yet. And then they put his huddle tape up, and I watched his huddle tape and immediately said, this is a top 150 player. And I took crazy grief for that. I remember, like Jimmy says that about every player. A, no, I don't. And B, I was right. I mean, he kind of blew up into a thing. And next thing you know, Alabama had to fight off Georgia, to land him. And now he's showing up at Alabama, and let me tell you, he's been a thing. I don't know that he's a starter, if you want to call it that. I think that that's still up for debate. I think Caleb Woodson has sort of nailed down one of the inside linebacker jobs. So it's going to be Caleb Woodson, which is great. And I think it's alongside him to start games, it's either going to be QB Reese or Luke Metz, but it doesn't really matter in this sense. Last year they played 3. Like, for instance, last year the guys that played most of the snaps at inside linebacker, and I guess the guys you'd call starters, were Deontay Lawson and Justin Jefferson. But when y'all consider Nikhai Hill-Green a starter, I mean, Nikhai Hill-Green was out there all the time with the ones in critical. It's 3rd and 1 against LSU, and it's 7-7. Nikhai Hill-Green has a chance to be out there just as much as Deontay or Justin. So they rotate inside linebackers. I think they're so deep with good inside linebackers, they may rotate more than 3. But even if they rotate 3, I think Luke Metz is going to be one of those guys. This is only his 2nd year in the program. He's impressed the heck out of a lot of people. I know Reuben Foster's gone to practice, and he's the one that jumped off the page to Reuben, who knows a thing or two about off-ball linebacking. Luke is really physical. He's a surprisingly good athlete for the spot. The coaches love him. I know they think he's a dude. So I think Luke Metz is going to be a big story this fall. And thankfully, I think 5 for 5 is just custom built for a guy like him. It's only year 2 for him, but this means we could potentially get 3 more seasons of Luke Metz. He might be a pro football player down the road. Let's not consider that too much just yet, but he's that type of kid. I'm telling you, this is a good football player. That's why I have him here at 29 on the roster ranking. That's pretty high considering most people wouldn't project him in the starting lineup, but I have him at 29.
That's on the cusp of starter. That's right there at it.
Sure.
Now, would you be – you won't be surprised, but I think some people listening would be surprised that Luke Metz, while you and I are super high on him, has 4 total tackles.
Yeah.
I take that back. He's got 4 solo tackles.
Okay.
7 total tackles.
7 total. Okay.
Yeah.
Those were all, I assume, on special teams. Did he play in beyond 4 games?
He played in only 4.
Okay. So he, quote, redshirted. Now, here's an interesting thing. Don't want to get off topic. I'm going to go to the roster and see this for myself, but I think Alabama has already instituted 5 for 5 on the official roster. They took off redshirt on every player. And see, we talked about this some yesterday or somewhere about how redshirting's gone. That means redshirting's gone. There's no redshirt junior on the roster anymore. There's no redshirt freshman. It doesn't exist anymore. So now, for instance, Luke Metz and Keelan Russell on the Alabama official roster are sophomores. They're not redshirt freshmen. They're sophomores. Redshirting's gone.
And then you go to super senior or something?
I think they're going to use graduate for the 5th-year guys. So it'll be freshman. Even if you haven't. I think they're going to call the terms will now be freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, graduate. So don't be that 5th-year guy that's not a graduate. That's going to look wonky.
Yeah. But have to be
or at least on your way to graduating, I would hope. I mean, Ron Williams is about to graduate in December. It's not even 20 yet. But I do think that Metz is great, so I think he's going to be listed as a sophomore. But I asked about the 4 games last year because redshirting was still a thing. And when people are like, well, why'd you redshirt anybody last year if this was going to be the case? Because they didn't know this was going to be the case. No one did. It's a new rule.
It is interesting. And you're going to tell me why this won't work. But my first thought was, well, since he redshirted, does Luke Metz get 5 more years? Because the new rule starts now. But that's not right.
No, it's got to start at some point. It's got to start at some point. And the reason that we have it is to get rid of these 6th, 7th, and 8th year and 9th year guys, because a big reason that they're doing 5 for 5 is to get rid of waivers. Now there will only be waivers for, believe it or not, there's a term out there, 3 M's, I think is the term. These are the only reasons you get a waiver. Maternity, which means female athletes could be given an extra year if they get pregnant, give birth, they get an extra year.
Mormon?
Maternity, mission. Yeah, well, they call it mission, but the Mormon missions and military service. If you graduate from high school and enlisted in the military, your clock can start when you get out of the military. So military, mission, maternity, that's the only waivers. And hey, I'm all for it. And it's going to lead to some sad stuff. I'll give you a good example. Trey Sanders, you know how terrible that car wreck was. He almost died. It took him a long time to get back. No waiver anymore.
Well, I mean, but
5 for 5. You got 5 years to play 5. No more medical. Has nothing to do with any of it.
I'm going to say this. I don't mind it. I know it's sad. I hear you, and it is sad.
Yep.
But life does that. There are people, if you were born in New Mexico, you don't get to go see a lot of good football games unless you're very wealthy and can fly places. You don't get to see a lot of good big-time college football games. It's in a world where we are slowly losing any place to learn some hard lessons that are just part of growing up. Mm-hmm. This is one that I think people should be able to learn because I think it's sort of eroding some things in a societal way, and that there is no more, hey, that's sort of the way it is sometimes. Nick Saban used to say it best, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Mm-hmm.
And you have to deal with it. And you have to learn to adapt. For instance, when Nick Saban wanted to tell everybody, hey, is this what we want college football to be? And everybody said, yeah, why not? And he said, okay, I'll do it better than you. And he did for the most part. So He could have just sat back and pouted and said, no, this isn't the way I'm going to do it. Dabo Swinney, he tried to take a stand on all these transfers and everything. Didn't work out for him. So he's kind of more than softened on it. He's almost a putty.
I think a major impetus in all this in terms of what they're trying to do is get rid of 25-year-old and older guys playing college sports. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to say 5 to play 5. And your clock starts at 19.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another sad thing that's going to happen. Some of these kids that have skipped grades in order to compete with younger kids, even, that are in their same grade. Some kids that graduate from high school are pretty old. Their clock may have already started. That is going to happen to some kids. Some kids will only have 4 years because they showed up. They showed up at 20.
I'm fine with that.
I've got no problem with it either. And I think there's too much.
If you didn't graduate when you were supposed to graduate, or if your parent, I do have some people that, I went to school with that were held back by their parents for athletic reasons. They were like, again, so you got an advantage on the front end instead of the back end, or you didn't study enough, so you had to repeat a grade, and you have to pay for that somewhere.
Yep.
Again, this
whole
whole
manipulation of age. I just don't think it's good for. I don't think it's good for kids or society. I know this isn't talking. I don't think it's good for kids or society on the manipulation of age. And just like I don't like reclass. I don't like the reclassification of kids, even though it's benefited Alabama at times with Ryan, and it's about to benefit us with EJ Crowell, I believe. But I think most kids weren't. I would even say, even a current player like Austin Mack. I think he would be infinitely better off today if he was a year 3 guy, not a year 4 guy. LT Overton was another guy that reclassed that I think could have used another year of playing college sports. And of course, now he had a medical thing, but it doesn't matter. I mean, he could have those line of scrimmage guys, Bear Fretwell's coming in, and he's a reclass kid, and especially at the line of scrimmage. I'm not a big fan of it at all. And I'm also not a big fan of repeating grades to gain it because just everybody be normal. Everybody be normal. No one gets an advantage over anyone if everyone's just normal.
Shoot, I don't know how to cut my dang phone off. I don't even know where it is.
I can continue to talk about Luke. I can continue to talk about Luke Metz while the phone's going because he's one of my favorite subjects to talk about. Who starts East Carolina at inside linebacker before we go to talk? Before we go to break. Who starts?
Your favorite Virginia Tech transfer.
Yeah, Caleb Woodson.
And QB Reese?
I'm going to go QB Reese too. I'm going to go Woodson and Reese, but put Metz will be in on the second series. How about that? That's how this next series, the second series, Metz will be in. That's so I know I drive people crazy because I'm one of the few people that believe that. That's why I call Metz a starter. And we're like, no, he didn't start the game. You know why starters silly? We'll talk about later in the show. If the other team returns the ball 99 yards and we tackle them on the 1, so at the 1 yard line, or let's say we do that, we return the kick 99 yards. So we start the game on the 1 yard line. We're going to come out in 13 personnel. So does that mean Jay Lindsey is a starter? He's a starting tight end on the team. Well, in my opinion, yeah. But that's not that's why I don't look at it like who's literally the first guy on the field. To me, it's more important about who plays with the ones while the game is in doubt.
We got to get to break. But first of all, somebody pointed this out that EJ Crowell, while he's reclassification is right age. Technically, he's actually on his right year. So it sort of averages out.
That's a great point somebody made. That is a great point somebody made. And for that, well, this is why I don't stand atop of Denny Chimes screaming at the clouds over it, because everybody's situation's different.
And you can't get up there.
Oh, I'm not even sure.
Get up there.
There's like stairs inside Denny Chimes so people can get to the top. I can't even get up them. I don't believe. There's stairs inside there.
All right. So then the other thing I wanted to say, and we got to get to break. About life lessons. Who was the golfer? His name was Casey something.
Martin.
Casey Martin, the one that had to ride the golf cart and wanted to be on the tour.
I think that's right.
And the tour guys were like, "You can't do that. I'm sorry." And he sued and everything, and ended up where he didn't do it or whatever.
No.
But my whole thing was, I hate it. You're right. It's sad. I hate that he has this disease or ailment or whatever. But I also look at it like, I mean, you can't do that. This is the way they play the game. This is how they do it. And if we make an exception for you, then we'll make an exception for the next guy who says, you know what, I have a broken toe and I can't walk, so I need a cart, but I can still swing a club. And then you make an exception for the next person and the next. Yeah. And that's how we got in this deadgum mess we're in with college football to begin with.
It's a slippery slope is the problem. It's a slippery slope. Once you get on that slope, they make it slippery and you keep just sliding down.
I think it was Paul Simon that tried to tell us slip sliding away is that's what's happening. I do want to tell y'all about
ourselves again.
I do want to tell y'all about Indeed. Support for today's episode comes from Indeed Sponsored Jobs. When workplace chaos hits you and you need the right hire, Indeed Sponsored Job helps connect employers with candidates who match specific needs like skills, certifications, and location. So less time gets spent searching and more time gets spent finding the right fit. People are finding quality hires on Indeed. They're doing it right now as I'm talking. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Look, one great addition can have a ripple effect on everyone around them. You know this, Jimmy. Whether it's deadlines piling up too much on one person's plate or trying to scale something quickly, the right person can completely change how a team operates. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Listeners to this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Jimmy Stein here. So CBS came out with a list of podcasts who you should subscribe to their Discord page. And that's ours. They didn't do that. I just screwed that up. But go to lockedonbama.supercast.com, lockedonbama.supercast.com. Do join our Everydayer Club. The Discord page is the most fun thing going on the interwebs right now. Al Gore confirms that. And we would love to have you. It's $5 a month, $50 for a year. LockedOnBama.supercast.com. Go there, join. We'd love to have you. It's a lot of fun. So CBS actually did come out with this. The freshmen who are slated to have an instant impact. Now, we're not going to talk about all these, but Jermaine Bishop, a wide receiver for Texas. Hey, Texas, why don't you get you up some wide receivers? I mean, they got Jermaine Bishop. They got Ryan Wingo. Rich Wingo used to be at Alabama, right?
He wouldn't be a good receiver anymore. I'm not sure he would have been back then, but
he probably need now. At this point in his career, he'd probably need a golf cart to run the route. And they got Cam Coleman, of course. Well, Tennessee's Faison Brandon or Brandon Faison, nobody's ever really determined which way that goes. But
that's what we should do. That Nate Bargatze Saturday Night Live skit that everybody was reposting a million times. Nobody knows. That's what we should do. What is his, in what order are his names said? Brandon Faison or Faison Brandon?
Yeah.
Oh, nobody knows.
By the way, not for nothing, but my daughter goes to Mountain Brook Elementary, and this must be a Mountain Brook thing. So I can tell you right now, it ain't an Ellick City thing. But she has a friend named Drayton and a friend named Sington. That's how I would say it. She goes, "Hey, Dad, today I was talking to Drayton, and yesterday I was talking to Sington." And I was like, "Are they robots? What are you doing?" She goes, "Sington." I was like, "Nobody, what are you talking about?" She goes, "That's how everybody says Drayton and Sington." I was like, "Not Sington? Not Drayton?" I mean,
no, Drayton.
It's not Drayton, right? Not Drayton from the planet beyond time. I mean, come on. But anyway, so maybe it can be Faison Brandon.
Let's do that forever.
The
whole 5 years that he's going to be at Tennessee, you will be required to pronounce it that way. So don't forget.
Faison Brandon drops back. Yes, act. Error. Okay, so Lamar Brown is a defensive lineman for LSU.
big time.
By the way, they may be about to flip Jalen Brewster, who is the number one defensive lineman this year, committed to Texas Tech. At least they think they're going to.
Yeah. Boy, that would be a big story. I mean, Texas Tech, he's the number one player in the country per some, and Texas Tech was really proud of that one. And gosh, LSU's spending some of that money.
Then they have Deuce Gerald's another defensive lineman for LSU. Yeesh. I'm sort of glad we're not playing LSU every year. Although I do maintain that I think the Lane Kiffin train will derail at some point. There's no way this stays happy.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I don't know that there's a more interesting team, and we'll get them a lot on game day. For those unaware or forgot, I think game day is LSU Clemson, and then week 3 LSU Ole Miss. So we'll get a lot of Lane early, and I'm not against it. I mean, there's no more interesting program to me this fall than LSU. And by the way, I think their range of variance is like 12-0 to 7-5.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see any of that happening, although I'll lean to 10-2. I'm putting them in my playoff projection as of now.
Then there's Zyke Helton, who wasn't he committed to Alabama at one time?
He sure was. He committed to Alabama back when he was in the 9th grade, and he was even a small kind of a center back then. It looks like he's going to start as a true freshman at Georgia, despite Georgia not exactly being, broke on the offensive line. Helton's apparently a heck of a player.
Then they put one more on here, Jaquez Wilkes, before you get to Alabama players, who I thought what an incredible name to put on there. I don't think he's going to make the impact CBS thinks. He's a small school kid from Wadley. Yeah. Incredible player.
Me and you loved him.
Loved him.
Still you were all about it.
Still love him. But I'm not sure as a 1A guy he's going to come in and set the world on fire. I just would be a little shocked. That's all I'm saying. I love him. I think the future's bright. But,
right.
Okay, now let's get to the Bama guys. I mean, the reason I sort of saved them for last, and we just got a few minutes for a break, is because we just literally talked about them, E.J. Crowell and Sudarian Morgan. I'm glad to see that CBS is picking up on these guys the way we are. So on Sudarian Morgan, I thought this was probably the most obvious statement in the history of obvious statements. He said he doesn't need a full season to develop physically. No, he doesn't. He would have to go backwards to develop physically. He's overdeveloped.
He checked that box in the 10th grade. He's and again, it's why, like I mentioned on the show, that on Sudarian Morgan Day that we had here on roster ranking day, which was just yesterday. I talked about how he's such a great fit with Ryan and Lottie because he brings something to the table here. I mean, that size and physicality, that's what you don't have with Ryan and Lottie. That's what you're always trying to do at wide receiver. It's a basketball team. They all need to bring a little something different to the table. It'd be nice if all 4 of them were Justin Jefferson, but we got to live in realism, and that doesn't happen, not even in the NFL. So it has to be a basketball team. Everybody's a little different. And what we need to go along with Ryan and Lottie, size and physicality. Boy, I fumbled that. Error.
Well, I'll tell you this. When I thought about that, I was like, yeah, he doesn't need a full season to develop physically. The man cut his own umbilical cord. He's fine. I'm going to talk some Odoo now. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them want to talk to each other. You don't want to do that. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place, helping your team move faster. Stay organized and focus on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working towards the same goal. And that's true in sports just like it is in business. Great organizations win because operations matter. And that's why you should get Odoo. That's ODOO. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. Go there right now, and you will be super impressed. All right, so Big 12 Media Days today. Give me again, what does this have to do with Alabama? We don't even play a Big 12 team. Well, I mean, I think it's kind of important to keep up with all these media days, see what's going on.
College football 2026. College football 2026. We get to turn the page. It's next season. I would argue today's kind of the start of football season.
I dig it. I mean, it's, to me, Big 12 media days is a little bit like watching the American soccer team, which we don't get to do anymore. But I mean, like, I'm interested in it, but it's not life or death, you know?
Oh.
So, I mean, I watched the American soccer team as long as I could last night, and then I realized they are not going to beat this squad. And I'll probably watch Big 12 media days until they start talking about Cincinnati, and then I'll turn it off.
Cincinnati has a very good offensive lineman, Evan, and I can't pronounce his last name. I'm who do you got winning the Big 12? See, that's the interesting thing to me. Whoever wins the Big 12 obviously gets a playoff spot. Do you think it's more potentially than a one bid league? I don't.
No.
I think it's a one bid league. That said, it's easy to rack up wins in the Big 12 because it's just not a conference that's deep. I think it's a deep of good and not a deep of great. I like Texas Tech to win there. And by the way, I kind of root against Texas Tech. I see them as sort of a Darth Vader of the sport myself, in football, especially
Very
softball and other. So I'm not a Texas Tech fan of how they're going about it, but they're very good. And I know there'll be a lot of pushback on they lost Sorsby. Will Hammond next up at quarterback. He's got a torn ACL or something last year. He's coming back from injury. So people say, I don't know. I mean, they got a question at quarterback. I would say, well, they won the Big 12 last year, and a lot of people listening to the show right now can't name their quarterback from last year. There's a guy named Bearer Morton, by the way, who was fine. I think he was a 7th round pick in the draft. But Texas Tech has already proven they can win the Big 12 without elite play at quarterback. I think they're just too good everywhere else. They have some interesting names on their team. Malcolm Simmons is a Texas Tech wide receiver this year, and they have other recognizable names. They have 4 or 5 all-conference defenders. I think Texas Tech wins, but BYU's good. Love their running back, L.J. Martin. Will he be a first-round pick as a running back from BYU? That's interesting.
I'm pulling for BYU. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
They can save college football. They are – look, Notre Dame goes to BYU October 17th.
Yes.
BYU wins that game, let's say. And that's one of only 2 decent games on Notre Dame's schedule. Notre Dame, the other best games are Wisconsin at Lambeau, Michigan State at home, at North Kakalaki, at Syracuse to end the season. They don't even play USC this year, as everybody knows. Right. The other game is Miami.
They do play Miami.
If at home, though, and in November, if BYU and Miami beat Notre Dame,
Notre Dame's out.
They have to be out.
They can't be in at 10-2 this year. They can't, because they would have no good wins. I mean, I don't know that they would have a single ranked win and the only 2 good teams.
We're all BYU fans.
Wouldn't it be something if you're rooting for that to happen, and a lot of people listening to the show are probably rooting for that to happen, and a lot of people listening to the show feel like Luke and I and don't root for Texas Tech. BYU could be the team that knocks Notre Dame and Texas Tech out of the playoff. They could be. How about that? So maybe BYU is America's team. Another deal I'll make with BYU, I will root for them for those reasons, because I think that's interesting. How about this, though? They have to agree to wear the old school BYU uniform and helmet from the Jim McMahon era.
All the dots and stuff.
Yeah, the Todd Detmer era BYU is by far the best BYU. The 80s, they were national champions at 84. I don't think that would happen had there been a playoff.
In 84, they also played Alabama 2A schedule. It's the worst schedule in the history of national champions.
I believe that's certainly true, and I think they won the Holiday Bowl. And they
beat a Michigan team that I think was 6-5 or something.
Yeah, so this is why we needed ultimately the BCS. But that said, I do think BYU in the 80s was a fun program to watch. They were one of the first to throw the ball around a lot. Had great quarterback Steve Young, Jim McMahon, Todd Detmer won the Heisman. Great. So anyway, the BYU's fun. Utah, it will be interesting as always. Houston is a team to watch for those unaware. Houston under Willie Fritz went from something like 3 wins to 9 wins, and they returned most of that team. Their quarterback, former SEC starting quarterback Connor Wigman is back to start again at Houston. All sorts of interesting things in the Big 12. A lot of former Alabama players around the Big 12. Like, how about a cornerback at Kansas named Jaleel Hurley? You might remember him. He's a corner at Kansas who also features a defensive tackle that's going to play in the NFL that's from Saraland that we never recruited, named Trevin McAlpin. He is at Kansas via Tulane. He played at Saraland. He's an all Big 12 type player and is likely to play in the NFL. Can't wait to watch Big 12 football. It's this time of the year. Oh, DJ Lagway at Baylor is a good story.
Yeah, that's it. And they play Auburn in game 1.
Play Auburn right out of the gate. So a lot of interesting stuff, of course, in that league. I will pick Tech. I don't like it, but I am picking Texas Tech to win the Big 12 and be the lone representative of the Big 12 in the college football playoff. I think there will be like last year, though. They'll make the CFP and they will lose game 1.
I will pull a soldier boy and go BYU. You don't get that reference, I bet. But
I don't, but I like the BYU thing, and I love it. I never really thought about it until you mentioned it. That's a great thing about how BYU could be the team that knocks out Texas Tech and Notre Dame. And I do think BYU Notre Dame is one of the more fun games of this season I look forward to. And when Notre Dame plays Miami, I think Notre Dame's really good. They're going to take a lot of grief for the schedule. But I do think Notre Dame is a really good team, and they're very hungry. I think I got Notre Dame 12-0. I'm leaning towards, not official yet, but I think I got Notre Dame and Oregon in the national championship game.
Save us, Joseph Smith. You're our only hope. All right. That's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.